Today, our webinar is with Brielle Cortez with Forest Bloom Fertility, and she is going to be sharing with us about echoes of a silent cycle, which I'm really excited to hear about. So, anyone watching this, if you're watching this in the archive, you're already an MIB member, and just know that I'm putting a link to reach out to Brielle directly in this post so that if you want to schedule a free consultation with her, you can do that. And I will hand it over to you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Leslie, and for everyone watching, thank you so much for your time, and I'm excited to be with you. So I'm going to go ahead and screen share, and we'll hop into the presentation. All righty. Does that look okay to you, Leslie, or is it not full screen?
It is not full screen, but I can see what you're trying to show me.
Okay, let me make it better.
Oh yeah, press that present
Whoop,
button.
whoop.
There you
Here we
go.
go.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. So yes, today's presentation is Echoes of a Silent Cycle. So we're just going to walk through, this presentation is designed to help women understand the benefits of their hormonal health, their cycle awareness, and making informed choices. So let's dive in to see why uh, walk away with today. So, just a little story from me. In college, I went on hormonal birth control. It's kind of just what you did. You're in a relationship. I was about to get married. And I didn't realize how much of a negative effect it would have on me personally. My mental health really suffered, and I didn't really even notice myself, didn't recognize myself in the mirror. And I don't do this, but I just went off of it cold turkey. My medical team wasn't really working with me, and so I took matters into my own hands. And I started learning how to naturally prevent pregnancy without my birth control prescription. And it's been over 5 years of trial and error, and then also continuing education to get where I'm at now. I've made lots of mistakes, and I didn't understand body literacy when I started the way I do now, and I really wish that I'd had someone to walk alongside me and to teach me what I didn't know, because you don't know what you don't know back then. But I'm here now, and I'm hoping that something from my journey and all the things that I've learned will resonate with you and support you. So, without further ado, so I'm the owner and CEO of Forest Bloom Fertility. I help women understand their cycles, balance hormones through lifestyle modification, and feel more informed and empowered with their health decisions. This little picture of my husband and sweet baby. She's gotten bigger. It's nuts. I need to do more pictures, but she's the best thing ever. We've lived in the PNW for almost 10 years. I love the seasons, the trees, the flowers. So part of my business name, and I'm so glad you're here. I feel like the fact that you are here today tells me you're invested in your health and you're already taking a big step by choosing to understand your body more deeply. So, welcome. Okay, so what will you leave with today? A new understanding of what your cycle really is telling you, a clear picture of what happens when hormones are suppressed. That's going to be our biggest focus. An introduction to charting as a health tool, simple ways to begin supporting your hormones, and an invitation to go deeper with support when you're ready. Okay, so what happens when we silence a cycle? What even does that mean? So we all have our hormonal cycles. It's commonly understood to be 28 days long. People commonly purport that day 14 of your cycle is ovulation, and we have our periods and all that fun stuff. Um, but it's less commonly known that everyone's cycle length can be different. There's a range of what's healthy and normal for cycle length, for when ovulation is. And there's a lot that we can learn about our cycles just through observing our life signs or biomarkers. And we can learn about our health and our fertility and have a lot of insight to helpful things when we tune into that. When we take hormonal birth control, we have our normal hormonal cascade disrupted. It damages our health. And then, really, another thing, another layer we don't think about is our body's always communicating with us. And so we end up quieting its communications, and that robs us of deeply connecting with ourselves. And we're also outsourcing what we know when we connect with ourselves to authority figures, people who've never spent a day in our skin. And so I think it's really powerful when women are given that power back and are able to hear what their body's been trying to tell them all along. So I've got a sneak peek of some of my fem materials here on the right. This is a view of the hormonal cascade. It is simplified. There's over 12 hormones involved in your hormonal cycle every month. In fem, we focus on four major ones just to keep things a little bit more digestible. But the whole cycle each month is initiated by follicle stimulating hormone or FSH for short, which stimulates a follicle to grow. Um, that growing follicle or egg is producing estrogen, and that estrogen stimulates LH or luteinizing hormone, which causes ovulation, and that empty sac then becomes a temporary organ called the corpus luteum, and that corpus luteum will produce progesterone. It's a wild and glorious thing that happens every month right under our noses, and it's it's honestly awe-inspiring. Like I kind of get weird because I get so inspired by it every time I look at this. Um, so that normal hormonal cascade is responsible not only for our fertility, but also for our health. And when we suppress it, we may miss out on that deep attunement and a health opportunity, really. Our cycles are silenced by hormonal birth control. So it creates a hormonal insufficiency in the body. Um, Progestogen will negatively feed back to the pituitary gland to suppress follicle stimulating hormone. Um, with that suppressed FSH, it doesn't start growing a follicle. We don't get estrogen produced. We don't have any LH surge, so we don't have ovulation. Then, since we didn't have ovulation, we also don't have that empty follicle to make a corpus luteum out of, and as a result, we don't have any progesterone being produced naturally in our bodies. And that doesn't seem like a big deal, but it kind of actually is. This is a really powerful slide here on the right. If you can see that might be a little small, I apologize. But you can see on the far left, there's a list of different body systems. So some reproductive, some whole body health, things like bones, blood vessels, blood clotting, blood sugar, sodium, brain cells, or just like our mood, how do you feel? And the truth is that estrogen and progesterone really play into those whole body health systems. So estrogen is going to be our growth and proliferation hormone, and progesterone is going to normalize, relax, maintain, um, all of the things. So basically, they need to be in balance to have the right amount of growth and the right amount of maintenance and relaxation. And so we can really wreak havoc on ourselves when we don't have those in balance, and that is disrupted when we take hormonal birth control. So every system of the body is reliant on those hormones, and when there's a breakdown in that communication, we do put ourselves at risk. So what can our experience be like when we're on hormonal birth control with a silenced cycle? We might be disconnected from shifts in our energy and intuition. So you've probably heard all the buzzwords about cycle syncing out there. And that is all based on how our energy and focus points ebb and flow throughout our cycle. So you can become disconnected from your energy and intuition. You can experience a lot of health side effects and risks from hormonal birth control. I don't know about at your appointment, but my hormonal birth control appointment did not really focus much on the risks. And I feel like that is vital to informed consent. If that's a decision you want to make, like, please do. Um, but you really deserve to know what you're getting yourself into, and what you might experience as a result. So you could also experience a different emotional landscape. I know I did. I suffered a lot with my mental health, and I wish I'd known that I had different options. So, how did we get here? The rise of hormonal birth control, it's women's empowerment, right? That's how it's sold to us. But it didn't teach us about ovulation, its power, its health implications, and we deserve to have safe care options and informed consent. So, I mean, I know from my personal experience, I definitely am no longer willing to take hormonal birth control. But I do acknowledge that there can be a time and a place for it. What I'm not okay with is that we aren't told those risks 9 out of 10 times. So, when did we first get hormonal birth control? So, that would be back in 1954. We've had our first contraception, hormonal contraception, go to human trials. In 1956, we had those trials in Puerto Rico. In 57, the FDA approved the combined pill, so estrogen and progesterone synthetic forms. In 1963, we had, by that point, 2.3 million women taking the pill, which is quite a lot. But already by 1970, only 7 years later, we already had words, Senate hearings on pill dangers. So things like blood clots, stroke, depression, heart attacks. And from that, we got warning inserts, except nobody usually reads them. And it's not usually reviewed in our appointments. So still not the full package, if you ask me. So today we have a growing number of women who are learning about their options outside of hormonal birth control, and really evaluating if this is still a good fit for them or if they want to have other options. But that's kind of where we have a turning point. I know when I shared with some mentors that I was going to be tracking my cycle, for prevention, they kind of laughed at me and they said, that's the parenting method. So there's definitely a stigma out there at times that people don't think that you can accurately and um, fully prevent that you can't prevent pregnancy effectively without hormonal birth control. And I'm here to tell you that's not true. So when the fem method, which we'll get into in a minute, is utilized properly, it has a comparable efficacy to the hormonal birth control pill. So that would be an efficacy rate of 92 to 98%. But the good part is you don't have any of those icky side effects. You're more tuned in with your body. And both of those things, hormonal birth control and the FEM method, they both require a daily action, or what you have to do something every day. So you have to take a pill or you have to check your biomarkers. And that's a cost benefit analysis that everybody has to make. Be like, is the convenience worth these risks to me? Or is maybe one or two more steps worth long-term health? So that's a decision for everyone to make on a personal level. So, why do women use hormonal birth control? So we only have 1/3 of women on the pill solely for gynecologic or women's health reasons. Another 2/3 of people using the pill are on it only partly for gynecologic reasons. So people might be using it for acne or hirsutism or managing endometriosis or PCOS or something else along those lines. I've got something to add to that. Um, and there's going to be a lot of overlap between reasons that people start taking birth control and the side effects they create, which is to me a little ironic. Side effects, that people experience from hormonal birth control can be infertility, which people don't talk about that. Bone and mineral loss, stroke, blood clots, loss of vision, cancer, breast and cervical, and then get this, some more overlap, acne, hirsutism, bleeding. I just consulted with a gal the other day who is bleeding most of the time on her form of birth control. And so she knows that she's preventing pregnancy, but she's really not enjoying bleeding all the time. Or some people have a real huge dip in mental health. I know I did. And I wasn't informed on that, and I don't think I would have done it if I had been informed. So it's pretty staggering to see that overlap there and how many of us are on hormonal birth control, possibly unnecessarily. So, is hormonal birth control a solution or is it a band-aid? I think that's a really important thing to ask ourselves. We deserve solutions, not band-aids. So I know when I go to the doctor, I want to have things solved. I don't want someone to just tell me that they can give me a pain med, or that they're going to rush through my appointment, or that they're just going to wait and see. Those kinds of things personally irk me, and I've heard the same from other clients of mine and people I know. Um, when sometimes what we really need is a root cause to be identified and solved. We need rest, we need nutrition, we need a better lifestyle, we need love. We need people who are going to be proactive instead of reactive for us. Um, Hormonal birth control can't connect you to your body. It can't deepen your overall health. It can't solve root issues. And when we experience negative symptoms, our bodies are crying out for support, right? So I'm encouraging all of us today to get quiet and listen to our bodies, and give them the support they deserve. And I really believe that you deserve better than being silenced. So, how can we get quiet and listen to our body's language? That's where FEM comes in. Now, FEM is something I didn't know about before 2 years ago, and it's something that I'm kind of obsessed with at this point. It's a way of charting your cycle, for health and fertility. So, FEM stands for Fertility Education and Medical Management. It's a fertility awareness method, or FAM, that helps you understand your body by observing key biomarkers. Another word for biomarkers would be life signs, or you could even simplify it further, or symptoms, things you can observe. And so there are lots of ways to chart, well, lots. There are two ways you can chart with them. You can do an analog style of paper charting, where you're going to be coloring little squares in to signify what you're experiencing that day. Or you can use an app. Most of my clients like the free app that comes with them, and it's super convenient. Take your phone with you everywhere, right? So it's a really easy way to chart. And in FEM, we focus on cervical mucus as our primary biomarker. So, cervical mucus is a direct, hormonal reflection of what's going on most of the time. So, it's a really reliable way to see what hormone is dominant right now and to anticipate, what the next cycle event may be. So we record that, and that becomes a way for us to listen to our bodies. We can recognize patterns, we can spot disruptions, we can respond with confidence. So this is a way that people can plan pregnancy, prevent pregnancy, or even just become more tuned in with what their body is saying and know what their health is doing. Like, I have a client right now that I'm working with, and we've identified that she may not be ovulating just from her charts. Are we going to get more testing and backup, over time to see, to verify that? Absolutely. But we can get a lot of really big clues from just our charting, which is pretty crazy. Another gal, her mucus patterns are showing that her body may be struggling to ovulate. So that gives us a cue on how we can help her there. So we chart in the app, and then I, as the FEM educator, can walk alongside and encourage and support. Um, FEM is comprehensive cycle education, and I think the next slide will talk more about that. Yes, I got excited, got ahead of myself. So the FEM series is a comprehensive series that will connect you with the cycle events that are going on and the why behind them. So you know what's normal, what isn't normal, and what that means for your health and fertility, and how to get additional support when needed. So what support can look like can be, health coaching. I'm a women's hormone health coach, also trained as a doula, and I'm taking continuing education literally all the time. So I'm always coming up with new tools to help people with, which is super fun. It could also look like a referral out to medical management. So that's what the last two letters in FEM stand for, is medical management. And FEM is connected with a network of doctors who are not going to brush you off, and can identify root causes of your hormonal issues going on. So there's like different tiers of support. You can just observe and make lifestyle changes. You can get more accountability support and, brainstorming, one-to-one or in a group setting with me, or you can get referred out to a doctor who's got your back and isn't going to brush you off. So I love that FEM and my services combined can give people such a wide range of help. So in FEM session one, these are like 2 hour sessions. Like, we don't mess around. By the end of it, you know what's going on. FEM session one is going to be FEM in your health, and you learn how hormones influence your health and how to chart your hormonal activity. In FEM session two, FEM expert, you learn to identify health patterns or problems. And then session three is family planning. So we learn how to manage your fertility. So you know what's going on now. What do you want to do with that information? So it's really giving you tools that you can use for the rest of your life. No matter what your goals are, FEM is for you. So 5 stages of learning FEM. This is, something I got from another, instructor. And it really gave me a giggle because I see it in my work. So stage one, like you're just fascinated, you can't get enough. You're eating this up, and then you get super mad. You're like, why have I never been taught this before? This is ridiculous. Everyone should know this. How have I been going through my whole life without this information? Then you get really good at charting. You've mastered your craft and you're feeling pretty good about it. Um, I guess that's I mashed 3 and 4 together. You'll be okay. And then at the end, you can call yourself body literate. You feel emotionally safe because you know nothing is a surprise in your cycle anymore. Like people are like, "OMG, my period's late. What's going on? I don't know what's up." You're not gonna have those moments anymore because you're gonna know exactly like what hormone is dominant right now, what it's doing, where you're going, and you are really in the driver's seat again. And then it also is going to improve your connection with yourself and your partner. Um, Session three is often attended by boyfriends, husbands, whoever you're sharing your life with, so that they can understand what you're going through and have more tools to support you, which is pretty cool. I know my husband's gone through all the fem materials, and so he can pick up what I'm putting down. He understands what's up and how to support me, which is really awesome. All right, so hormonal literacy is going to give us personal power. What can you gain from tuning into your cycle through fertility education? You're going to get, or that's a series. What can you gain from tuning into your cycle through fertility education, cycle charting, and cycle syncing? So you're going to be able to understand how your energy, libido, digestion, mood, all of how those things shift throughout the phases of your cycle. You're going to be better able to proactively care for yourself and prepare for the coming cycle phase. You're going to have informed consent and be able to have like a collaborative approach with your medical team and making medical choices. And you're going to have tools to prepare for conception if that's in your goals, or other hormonal changes that may be coming up for you. And you're going to have an overall sense of empowerment as you're no longer in the dark in regards to your cycle and health. And that is something that can be really transformative. So, what about hormone health? We want to nourish first and detoxify second. So we're going to start on nourishment. We are a society that's overfed and undernourished, and I want to look at how we can support our hormone health more deeply through nourishment. So we've got several things going on. There's more than this, but some big ones are whole foods, minerals, and rhythms. So we really a way to shop more whole foods next time you're at the grocery store. Words are hard today. Would be to shop the perimeter of the store. So the perimeter of the store is going to have a lot more whole foods than the aisles in the middle. So as you're shopping next time, just tune in, like see if you zigzag through the middle or if you stick around the edges. I really appreciate that we have ready-made options because I will always say that eating something is better than skipping a meal. And so if that's where you're at, that's okay. And you can also reevaluate your priorities too to some extent. But whole foods are going to be the most nourishing. They're tailored to hormonal needs, protein, healthy fats, fibers, all really good things that we want to get into our diets. Minerals, most of us are deficient, and minerals make babies, is the saying out there. So we really want to have our minerals, and there's some excellent vitamins out there too. But if you can get your magnesium, sodium, and potassium up, those are great. That'll really help you with hydration as well. Hydration is really key to cervical mucus and all the things, so we want to focus on that. A quick way that I like to get my minerals in is taking Element or LMNT. Putting that in my water is really great. You can also do like Redmond salt and cream of tartar has the potassium, and some like citrus juice for the vitamin C. You can also do coconut water and add some salt and some juice in there. That's another great way to do it. But all those things are going to help with your hydration. And then we are a society that is just always steaming full steam ahead. And at some point, you're going to hit a wall. So there's a lot of wisdom and hormone health to be tapped into in living in a rhythmic life. So that can be cycle syncing, that can be honoring your circadian rhythms, like you can turn your screens to red mode at night or turn them off 2 hours before bedtime. And seasonal living too. We have our seasons up here in the PNW. So leading into that can be really nourishing for your hormone health as well, as our bodies are cyclical, whether we want to tune into it or not. Also, when clients work with me, we make personalized plans to support them in their unique needs. So we're all different, right? It's not one size fits all. And so I help people identify, where to start and what to work on. And then I like to check in on them and encourage them along their way because that is always helpful. Hormone health coaching is a wonderful next step after learning FEM, especially because in FEM we can see those hormonal patterns come up and have clues as to what might be going on. So we have way more information on where to start with our lifestyle modification than we do if we just jump in the deep end. Can we jump in? Absolutely. But I really, really love the approach of FEM first. It can also show real-time change. So this has also happened in my work with clients where they learn FEM, they're charting, and then we start doing some modification of lifestyle, adding other things in, taking other things out, and you can actually see their cycles change in response to those tweaks, which can be pretty darn exciting. I get really, really amped about it. So we also have other ways to nourish ourselves that aren't food. Um, and this is something that I really loved from my first piece of education when I became a health coach overall, is they would talk about the idea of food on and off the plate. So there's things we eat, and then there's other things that nourish us that have nothing to do with food. And so we can even go into like things like finances and home environments and of relationships is on here. But there's so many things that will affect us that we can tune into and support our hormones through. So there are other things that nourish our hormones that they aren't consumables, but they're just as important. So sleep, we often hear that we need 6 to 8 hours of sleep, but we actually, as women, hormonally need more like 8 to 10. So that is an easy thing you can do to support yourself. Well, maybe not easy, simplistic in explanation, but let's be real, we have crazy lives. The stakes are high, but if you are able to improve how much you rest, that can be a really great game changer. Nervous system, our bodies like to operate when they are safe. So you might have heard of the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So rest and digest is another way you might have heard that. When your body is calm, it can rest, it can digest, it's going to prioritize fertility. When you're running crazy, your body is going to downregulate into survival mode and it's not going to prioritize making babies. It's not going to really digest your food. It's just getting by. So prioritizing a way for your body to feel safe, taking care of your vagus nerves, think Epsom salt baths, co-regulation. You can even use things like tapping or meditation or prayer. There's lots of different things out there that can nourish your nervous system. And then relationships, right? So surrounding ourselves with people who nourish us is really important. And since we have a social contagion element, if you get yourself around people who are healthy in the ways that you want to emulate, that can be really great. Another thing is accountability, right? So having a gym buddy or somebody who's checking on you with something that you say you're going to change in your life can be really, really helpful. And if you don't have those people in your life, coaching is a really great way to fill that as well. So that's something that I provide to my clients is checking in on them and seeing how they're doing and encouraging them when they hit roadblocks because they are going to come up. So second, we want to detox, right? So we hear detoxification and it's kind of annoying. It's like, oh, it's another trend. But it's really essential to hormone health. When the body isn't burdened by all the extras, it can focus on health and vitality, fertility too. The body uses hormones like messengers. So it's kind of like the body's text message system. But if you've got all this extra information lying around, if it's not being detoxified properly, it's going to start to cause interference. There's going to be mixed messages coming through the body, and it's going to make things a bit hectic. So, we want to be having daily bowel movements. That's a really big way that hormones are used and then excreted. So, if we're not pooping regularly, things are going to get weird. And lymphatic drainage is a huge one as well. So, things you can do to support that would be like rebounding, walking, lymphatic massage, dry brushing. Those are all some good ones. And then getting your sweat on, I really think that exercise can be a joyful thing. So find something that resonates with you and utilize it. It's going to support your body's natural detoxification. And then, of course, there's other things as well. So something like castor oil packs can be really great support for your liver. Reducing chemicals in the home, like this could be a whole presentation in itself. But think simple cleaners like vinegar and water, for example, or lemon juice, baking soda. Um, I just discovered citric acid is a huge one for like dishwashers and I can never think of the name. This is kind of a weird thing. Washing machine. I don't know why that one's been weird. I can like clothing cleaning machine. Anyway, so those are some really great ones. Staying away from some of the more caustic chemicals is just going to give your body less to deal with. And then, of course, things that go on our skin. Our skin absorbs more than 60% of whatever we put on it. So, we want to be mindful of what we're putting on our skin and reduce chemicals there as well. I have super great contacts for skincare if you need somebody that's going to be low tox and truly natural. And not everything that's natural is going to treat your skin well. So there's a lot to consider there. And then also, I would call stress a major toxin. Like you can do everything right, but if you're not addressing the stress in your life, it's still going to show. So that is another huge one. So this is not all just out there in the ether. This is affecting real people. These are women just like you, women who've taken the steps to be informed and empowered, and they've heard the echoes of their silent cycles and they decided to turn up the volume and really listen. So I wanted to go through a few stories. This is from Haley. She was postpartum. When she came to me, she had a lot of changes going on. We know how postpartum can be super wild. Her cycle was unpredictable and she really wanted to experience that clarity. So she took Fem with me and learned how to track her cycle naturally. She left feeling confident, equipped, and empowered. And what stood out to her was how supported and seen she felt. So, with postpartum uncertainty swirling around her, she still found grounding, clarity, and peace through education that met her needs. And then Molly, we're going to go over her story. So she's the empowered cycle seeker. She came to me after learning about the hidden effects of hormonal birth control, ones that had never been told to her. She hadn't heard them before, and she knew she wanted to come off, but she also knew she needed support. So when we worked together, she didn't just transition off the pill, she became deeply connected with the rhythms of her body, and she felt more prepared for every stage of life to come. She said that learning with me felt like a hug, which is probably the best compliment I've ever had. She's now confident, informed, and truly supported in her journey. Now we've got Brooke and Kelly. Brooke started with a long acting implant, convenient but costly. She gained over 50 pounds and actually was gaslighted when she said that that had caused her weight gain. People just actually gaslit her and said, no, that's not a side effect, but it was actually in the insert. She battled off extreme anxiety and felt betrayed by a system that told her everything was normal. When she decided to come off, she wasn't ready for pregnancy, and that's where Fem changed everything. So now she uses her chart to confidently avoid pregnancy and understand her body better than ever. She continues healing from hormonal side effects. She's been making a lot of progress recently, so that's been really exciting. And she feels back control, and she wishes she'd known these tools sooner. And then Kelly, she has been piecing together info from Google and Instagram, and she's found it helpful but confusing also. So she was trying to make a piecemeal of something, and it was getting to be a lot. So through our fem sessions, everything clicked, and now she has clarity, retention, and confidence. The guessing is over for her, and when it's time to try for another baby, she knows her chart will be her compass. She describes their work together as kind, non judgmental, and exactly what she needed to turn knowledge into wisdom. So, how can Forest Bloom's fertility support you? So, really, Fem can be so versatile. There's even a series for teen girls, which I'm really excited to bring to the community because, man, I would have eaten this stuff up as a teen. So, people can go through the Fem education series one to one or in a group setting. You can access chart reviews for interpretation. We can go over hormone health, either with them or apart from it. and we can manage confusing cycles, PCOS, PMS, and other concerns. We also can prepare for fertility and trying to conceive. And we can also support postpartum. Charting postpartum can be extra confusing, so having support for that can be amazing, like Haley experienced. And we also can take FEM or do wellness work together just for empowerment and informed choices through the lens of your cycle, regardless of your life phase. So, really, whatever your needs are, I am here for you to be a support. It's my favorite thing. So, I absolutely love being there for my people. We also have a lot of tools we can utilize. So my clients get access to personalized supplement protocols. So I work with Full Script. They are third party tested and really high quality. So sometimes there can be um, issues of quality and all kinds of things, especially like don't get your supplements through Amazon, okay? I know it's easy, but don't do it. Sometimes those can have fillers, even if it looks like what you're buying. So you want to know that if you're making that investment in your health and taking all the trouble, that you're getting something good. So we can also get functional labs through FullScript. So there's a team of doctors that partner with me as a health coach to get access to labs for people, and you can get them drawn at normal lab places in town. And you can also do chart reviews together so we can see that real time process after you've learned FEM. And of course, I'm always going to be there to provide clarity, accountability, and support. So there's really a lot of options of ways that we can support. So we do have 5 spots open for June. So this is for one-to-one. And then if you wanted to be a part of a group class, I can also keep you in the loop on when we have enough people for one of those. And I wanted to offer a $100 off for package purchases to all of you as a thank you for attending today. I'm going to put a consult link in the chat, and I will be giving priority to all of you for the next week, so the 29th today through the 5th. So just as a recap, we can do FEM education, and we can do lifestyle support, and we can do those either together or separate. Um, and yeah, I'm really excited for the possibilities um, for working together, and also just excited to celebrate your growth, no matter what that looks like. So I'd love to stay connected. Here is all my contact information. So Instagram, phone, email, all of those work. I think email is probably going to be the most direct and comprehensive way to contact, but those are all options. And I'll be putting that link in the chat. Um, if you want to book a 15-minute free call to chat more about personal concerns or just want to connect more, that would be amazing. And yeah, I'd love to open up the floor for questions as I put in that chat. Let me stop this share. And yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah. No, I wish I would have heard about all of this like 20 years ago.
Right?
I'm almost 40. So,
You're
but
young. You're young.
so now I know now I'm like thinking about hormones on the other side of like having babies. But yeah, no one ever talked about this kind of stuff and it was just so standard, just everyone goes on birth control. And I was on birth control in college and I felt like a crazy person.
Oh,
Like I felt so crazy. And I remember one of my girlfriends in college, her dad like owned a pharmaceutical company. They were super wealthy and he would
okay.
not let her go on birth control. And that's all I needed to hear. So I was, I think, like 21 when I went off of birth control because I was like,
Wow.
I mean, that's all I need to know is that you're not allowed to because your dad probably knows more about this than the general public. And so I do
Wow.
feel thankful because I went off of it before getting married and um had no problems with fertility at
Mm.
all. And you just know, I have so many friends that were on it for, into me. You just always think like, I wonder what that connection is. Like it's not, it's obviously not natural to be suppressing your hormones and messing up your cycle. So
Wow. I just got goosebumps. That is a
really
wild
good.
story. Thanks for telling me. I
Yeah.
can't believe that.
Yeah. And yeah, really good. I mean, with our group, there are so many people who already have kids, but we have a lot of members who have like teenage kids, and I think that
Yeah.
this would be a really interesting pitch to those moms of teenagers because there's just not a lot of education out there. And my mom put me on birth control when I was in high school because I had bad cramps. And I think it was her secret way of just like not talking to me about sex and then not, not wanting a pregnant daughter, even though I was like a goody two shoes and that never would have happened. But yeah, I think it would be very powerful for parents to, you know, help their teen girls understand what's going on with their body.
Oh, I
How
love that. That
early,
makes me so excited.
how early would you recommend this kind of education? Like I have a niece who's turning 14. Is
Oh,
that
prime time.
too
Yeah.
early for her to
No.
you think that would be
The Teen Femme program that I have available to me, I think it would be even safe for like tween girls, like 10, 11, 12, even. Depending
okay, yeah.
on where the girl is at, she could even take the adult version. It would just be up to parental preference.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah,
I mean the adult one is going to talk about sex, whereas the child version doesn't. It just talks about your own body and your own health.
yeah.
Um,
So interesting.
so
My oldest is about to turn 12, and
okay.
we have not talked yet about a lot of things. Um,
Okay. So the child one could be a really nice entry point because it could teach her about her body, and then you can address sex specifically when it feels right for your family at a later time. So,
yeah, right. Okay, I might need
yeah.
more information on that because I have just been thinking about like, okay, I've got to get ahead of it because it's coming. Like the signs
Yes.
are there.
Yes,
So,
for sure. If you want to snag one of those 15-minute ones, I could even screen share and share some of that presentation for the kiddos with you to see what you think and see if it would be a
oh
fit
yeah.
too.
Ooh, that's a great idea. Yeah.
I'm sure.
Okay, so you put the link into the chat. I'm gonna copy
Yes.
and paste it.
So that is for a
Um,
15-minute free consult just to touch base, and we can do it via Zoom so that I can screen share to show materials to people as well so they can see more of what the presentation looks like and see if it's something that they
okay.
are wanting to do.